Live look at Fisherman's Village in Punta Gorda, one of the many places that tells the story of bouncing back from Hurricane Charley. Good evening and thank you for watching NBC2. I'm Peter Bush.
And I'm Chief Meteorologist Allison Ray alongside Kelly Burns. We are here at Fisherman's Village 20 years after Hurricane Charley just roared through Punta Gorda.
Yeah, I remember being here covering storms. I had been covering storms for more than a decade. But this storm was something different, and driving through Punta Gorda in tears thinking, my goodness, how are they ever going to build back this community? It was absolutely devastated. The libraries, the downtown, the sheriff's office, 3 hospitals, people had died, mobile homes were gone. It was absolutely devastating, but people were inspired to rebuild. They got together, they locked arms, and they stepped into the future.
I've heard from people that live elsewhere in the United States said that Punta Gorda was showcased on TV as showing what can happen when a community is hardened.
They basically had the opportunity to rebuild Punta Gorda and build it back better. NBC2's Samantha Servin caught up with a group of volunteers. They named themselves Team Punta Gorda to see how they were determined to make this community better than ever.
In the days following Hurricane Charley, there were a lot of unknowns. When would power come back on? Where am I going to live? How will we ever recover? Within weeks, with $250,000 raised in donations,
the volunteers looked around and they said the city has got public safety well in hand, but what is the vision of the future? What's going to happen next?
We're open for business.
I'm not sure what color these are going to be.
And so, Team Punta Gorda was created. The goal, to facilitate development and shape growth in the community. They had brainstorming sessions and even helped hire a notable urban planner. Ultimately, they formed a master plan.
The Citizens Master Plan was a roadmap for the city to move forward with recovery that included the citizens' vision, not just the government's vision. And so Team Punta Gorda held charrettes. That was a new word for me. I think of them as workshops with citizens to get their opinions. And all of that was rolled into a master plan, which was then gifted to the city and became the basis for the work that the city did in the future to rebuild.
Inside that plan, the vision for now well-known landmarks, Lashley Marina, the Herald Court Center, the overall feel of downtown.
Probably over 90% of the people's wishes in the Citizens Master Plan have been completed.
And it all happened much quicker than anyone imagined.
And FEMA was so surprised because at 5 years, you could hardly tell that anything had happened. And they said that that's so uncharacteristic of a community. Usually, they said it would have been maybe 20 years, if then, that you would have reached that point.
Now, as we sit here actually 20 years later, Team Punta Gorda is still strong, still finding ways to strengthen their home.
One of the things that happened with Ian, I've heard from people that live elsewhere in the United States, said that Punta Gorda was showcased on TV as showing what can happen when a community is hardened. Ian was pretty powerful, but we made it very well. We still had damage, but we made it very well because of what we went through with Charley.
With all the questions asked after Charley answered, what's next for Team Punta Gorda?
With 600 volunteers popping up a year, we have a lot of manpower. And so we try to stay responsive to what's going on in the city and what organizations are doing.
This is a journey to which there is no end. We'll always have something to do if we're doing it right and if we're listening and continuously doing our homework and looking for what is that next best thing. What does this community now need? It's 20 years later, the needs are different. But one thing that's always been on everyone's mind is preserving the historic character of the community.
Reporting in Punta Gorda, I'm Samantha Servin.